Disclaimer: all clips and materials used in this video fall under the principles of fair use. They are used for educational purposes, providing commentary, criticism, news reporting, teaching, and research. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. Today we will discuss the jealousy non-black women have for black women. Contrary to what many people believe, a lot of non-black women envy beautiful, talented black women. The topic of jealousy or envy that non-black women may feel towards black women is complex and rooted in a variety of social, cultural, and historical factors. It's essential to approach this discussion with sensitivity and an understanding of the broader context in which these feelings might arise. Let's start with historical and cultural context, with Eurocentric beauty standards. For centuries, Eurocentric beauty standards have dominated global perceptions of attractiveness. These standards often marginalize the beauty of black women, leading to a long history of discrimination and exclusion. However, as society becomes more inclusive and diverse, black beauty is increasingly recognized and celebrated. This shift can sometimes create feelings of envy among non-black women who see black women gaining visibility and appreciation in ways that challenge the traditional norms they've been conditioned to value. As more black women embrace their natural hair and features, there has been a broader cultural shift towards valuing authenticity and rejecting artificial beauty standards. Non-black women may envy the confidence and self-assurance that comes with this acceptance, especially if they feel constrained by societal expectations to look a certain way. A lot of the jealousy that non-black women feel towards black women could be a projection of their own insecurities or internalized racism. The discomfort with seeing black women succeed or be celebrated may stem from unresolved biases or a fear of declining social status. The changing power dynamics in society, where black women are increasingly seen in positions of influence and authority, can also lead to envy. As black women challenge stereotypes and assert their presence in spaces that were traditionally exclusive, this can provoke feelings of inadequacy or competition in others. Before we begin, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check the description for more information. Now, let's jump in and examine further.
Seeing a beautiful black woman with a white man will almost certainly trigger a white woman's main character syndrome every time. If you're a white woman that follows me right now, you better not be getting that thumb ready to scroll, please. Because that was embarrassing, what happened on that other video. Don't do that. Stay and listen. Like you would want a man to stay and listen when I talk shit about men. Be the change you want to see in the world, okay? Now, you may have heard me talk about main character syndrome in men, which is the idea that they are the main character and that everybody else around them fits into that narrative somehow, either as the sidekick, either as the villain, the mentor, etc. And when you are raised in a hierarchy, especially, again, a hierarchy that involves race as explicitly as the American hierarchy involves it, it's turtles all the way down. It's the same thing all the way down. While white men definitely do have the most amount and like the most egregious case of main character syndrome, everybody who participates in the American hierarchy, in the American caste system, all of these behaviors and actions, like they trickle all the way down. Yes, white men have like this very intense main character syndrome, but white women have also been given a very specific narrative about their place in that situation. And so they also have main character syndrome. That's where when a white man marries a black woman, it triggers white women's narrative. It triggers the narrative that something was taken from them because their whole life they grew up watching white Disney princesses end up with a white Disney prince. So that's how it goes. That's how you play the game, right? You take this doll and they go together, and that's how you play the game. What's triggered is that you are not supposed to be part of that narrative in any way as a black woman. You are not supposed to reap the benefits of being this close to the top of the hierarchy, right? It's almost like they see it in their eyes as like you've skipped a few steps on the ladder and you've ended up like, you know, in a place that they could have gotten. It's kind of like that problem that white people have with affirmative action, right? It's like, well, what if there was a white person that was qualified to take that spot and you just took it from them? Like, don't you feel bad? And this is why affirmative action is needed, because people think like that. Like you just told on yourself very loudly. But that's what it is. They are also confused because a white man isn't supposed to want a black woman. Like a white man is also supposed to be trained to want a white woman, to want the aesthetic, right, of a white woman. This is from Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Saad. And she says black women around the world experience this white gaze lens of being seen as angry, strong, aggressive, and wild, as well as being believed to be lesser in intelligence and beauty than other women. They are seen as either the aggressive adversary, the sassy sidekick, or the deferent devotee to white women. So of course a white woman is triggered and confused when you are chosen by a white man who was supposed to be the prince to her princess in her fairy tale, right? Like it immediately makes sense. She's like, how can you like this aggressive and wild, angry and strong woman when I was taught my whole life that to get a man, I have to be all the opposite of these things? Obviously, the black woman can be whatever she is. Like, she's not obviously automatically angry or wild or any of these things. You don't know that. But in your mind as a white woman, that's what you assume, because these stereotypes have been so readily fed to you. And not only that, but you have been taught to be the opposite of these stereotypes. So to a white man, it should have been a no-brainer based on the stereotypes. And at the end of the day, what's upsetting, again, is that they have worked really hard for this certain thing that was pretty much supposed to be all but guaranteed to be theirs. And here comes somebody basically cutting in line. You are never supposed to surpass them on the ladder up to the top, because white women are supposed to get the opportunity first. Not only that, but a white man is never supposed to pick a black woman. You know, that's why so many white women are such pick-me's, because they were literally taught that men will pick you if you do certain things. And they actually put stock into that and grew up training themselves to do these things, to be unproblematic, to be very easygoing, keep sweet, pray and obey, whatever, right? Now they're surprised because their expectations have been subverted, right? It's that because whiteness comes from a lack mentality, it's that liking anything about a black woman is automatically an insult to a white woman. A crazy way to think, obviously, but nevertheless, it happens. And the emulation stems from kind of the exact same place of white women have always been told that they are the beauty standard. It was like Marilyn Monroe, like if the sex symbol was always a white woman. But once the capitalists figured out they could exploit black women for that too, they were like, oh great, we'll just do that. Nobody thought about how that would affect the white women who have always been told that them being the highest standard of beauty is safe. It's safe and sound. Like no black woman will ever be considered as beautiful as like a mediocre looking white woman. Those days were past, right? All of a sudden. And all of a sudden they started being like, oh wait, there's something I'm missing out on. And it's this whole like, that should have been me. That should have been me and not you. Basically that idea, right? And there's also what's hard coded into capitalism, which is basically you either compete or you get left behind. So that's why all the Kardashian sisters went and got everything done like the way that they did. Because black women can be sex symbols now too. And white women raced, right? So they said, oh, so if these are the features that men want, then I will give them that. Me, a white woman. That's basically where I think that comes from. This part is for the white women that are, I trust, better still be here. Why do you need to look at anti-blackness against black women? It is my belief that the rising and empowerment of black women is one of the biggest threats to white supremacy. Knowing this, white supremacy works particularly hard to stifle, undermine, marginalize, demonize, and harm black women. All anti-blackness, regardless of who it is directed at, paints black people as inferior in all ways, except the ways that can be used by non-black people for non-black gain. When it comes to black women, this treatment is compounded by the added marginalization faced under sexism. From negative stereotypes that trap black women in a one-dimensional imagination to the way that black women's bodies have been treated less like the bodies of human beings and more like the bodies of animals. Anti-blackness against black women is killing black women, both physically and psychologically. So if you call yourself a feminist, you want to call yourself a feminist, you want to rah-rah under my videos where I talk shit about men, but you don't want to look at this, you don't want to look at anti-blackness against black women, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're no better than Susan B. Anthony and her little minions, that when they were given their rights, they took them and ran with them. And they left the black women that worked with, that protested with, that marched with, did everything with. These white women left them in the dust to fend for themselves. They took their rights and they ran. And I'll be damned if anybody following me thinks it's going to be like that. It's not going to be like that, if I can help it. That's embarrassing. That's a shameful moment in American history and in American women's history especially. How you are in relationships with and to black women speaks volumes about where you are in your anti-racism journey. Do you feel like you cannot relate to black women? Do you covet black women's physical attributes yet secretly feel disdain for them as human beings? Do you assume Black women are less educated, less affluent, and less capable than you? These are just some signs that you harbor anti-Blackness against Black women. This anti-Blackness needs to be excavated, confronted, and owned in order for you to practice anti-racism.
The video was literally all about me stating why many white women, or most white women, are in fact jealous of Black women. So as you can maybe guess, I got a lot of heat for the video. A lot of butthurt white people try to make me understand or try to make me believe that what I'm saying comes from a point of, like, I'm literally judging myself. I'm saying I am jealous of Black women. That's why all white people are jealous of Black women, which is definitely not the point. Everybody is at one point in their life always jealous of something or of somebody, but that's not the issue. The issue is that what I said comes from historical facts. You are only jealous of someone you can never be like. Like if someone is out of your reach, that can be financially, socially, economically, visually, ethnically. It can have so many reasons. If somebody is out of your reach for you, you always react with jealousy, sometimes consciously and sometimes subconsciously. But it's always a point of, I wish I was that person. I wish I had that person's money, car, house, face, body, eyes, ears, character, whatever. Jealousy always comes from a point of not being able to be like the person the person in question. The thing is, starting, for example, with fashion that was very modern in the 1700s, women used to dress in a way that they used to carry like a pillow. It wasn't technically a pillow, it was like a foam something in their behind to make their butt appear a lot bigger. That one being said, of course, every woman's physics or every woman's body shape is different, but there are certain features that are attached to certain ethnicities. And of course, Black women are known for having beautiful full lips, very sharp facial features. They are known for their jawline, for their nose bones, for the hips of their nose. Is it called hips of the nose? I guess you know what I mean. The sharp eyebrows. They are known for their hips and the hourglass figure that's absolutely trendy now, that is everywhere. Some years back, you will still be bullied if you had a big butt. Now, everybody wants a big butt. And the media have the caucasity to blame this on people like the Kardashians that are literally the human definition of copying Black women. It starts not only with the body shape. It's the lip fillers, is the eyebrow lifts. Many of us are getting the face contouring when we are getting injections to make the facial bones sharper that are just not common in our ethnicity. These are things that, of course, there are always exceptions, just like there are Black women with small lips, Black women with flat butts. Like I said in the beginning, everybody is different. But that notwithstanding, like I said, there are certain features, certain looks that are designed or that are known to be often seen in Black women, Black people in general. So now, thanks to social media, we have a whole new word for that, which is called blackfishing. Blackfishing is exactly what we've been doing since we came to recognize the fact that Black women have what we can never achieve naturally, because surgery has just been around for a few years now. So, and it's been hyped and is having a boom in the last maybe like 5 years. So then another thing is that not only the copying, it is the social safety and social standard we enjoy for appropriating Black cultures. That starts with the hair. I have so many Black women as friends, and I know what they go through. I know the discrimination they face because of if they carry their natural hair, if they have their hair braided. The only time when they are accepted in society, and I mean like absolutely accepted to an extent that they can be tolerated. Notice tolerance is an acceptance, and both of them don't mean that they are valued and that they are appreciated. Those are different adjectives altogether. So how can we comfortably sit and be like, I'm wearing braids because it's only hair? No, it's not only hair. It's another person's daily struggle because it's their culture and they're not free to express it. Meanwhile, you, Karen, and you, Becky, you go out, wear the braids, get praises, and absolutely do nothing against the discrimination Black women go through. That's the acceptance of compliments. That's when we are getting those compliments without correcting that, oh, thank you. This is actually a Black hairstyle. This is actually, we are not even ready to question our own white privileges. That's why we are labeling it only hair, so that we can comfortably culturally appropriate another person's identity. We are using these statements to make ourselves comfortable while we know that we are doing the wrong thing. We know, deep down we know, we just don't want to say it out because we want to reap the benefit. Once you Google what Google tells you about the snuggly baby carrier, that was loud, apparently. Apparently, Google says that a white woman discovered the snuggly baby carrier. Meanwhile, women in today's Tanzania, Namibia, Angola, Congo, literally the whole southern part of Africa, downwards of Cameroon downwards, have been carrying their children like this ever since they came to existence. And white supremacy and white privilege made it possible for a white woman to reap benefits of something, not only benefits in the form of praises. We are talking about money. We are talking about recognition. We are talking about getting compliments and getting praises for something she had absolutely no hand in. She literally saw it when the native Africans did it and still do it up to today. She saw it, appropriated it, made it her own, made it known in the white man's world, in the Western world, and got credit for it. And she's at fault because she failed to recognize the Black woman as its origin. She failed to recognize the Black woman as the origin of humanity, point one, and the origin of the idea she stole from that woman. Man, all of us went to school. If you go to school and do this kind of crap, you will fail every single available class. But if you're white and you're grown and you steal from Black people, you get media recognition, you get money, you get praises. That's white privilege. And that's only possible in a form of white supremacy because we keep it alive. Whenever we appropriate a Black woman's identity, culture, heritage, her entire being, her entire identity, without giving her credit, without making sure that she can carry the same thing we are carrying out her house without ever being discriminated once, we are guilty. And that's it. That's it. It's pretty damn simple if you only make your research of it, if you only read about it, if you only listen to what Black people tell you. Because I'm here telling you this, but a million Black people have told you this before, you just didn't listen. That's the point. We just don't listen. So whenever we appropriate, we technically know that's not our own because we are not that dumb. I mean, I want to believe that we are not that dumb to really think that we invented box braids and that we invented big butts and tiny hips and full lips in the name of lip fillers. I really want to believe that we are not that dumb to believe that we invented something that Black people have been having long before white people even existed. And that's a pain in the ass for the average white person because we have a huge problem with giving Black people the credit they deserve because we so desperately want to be what we can never be. A copy will forever be a copy. And I'm sitting here telling you this from a point of, please change. But every system is designed to fall one day. So silence is acceptance. That's all I got to say. So please do your research. Please protect Black people around you. Use your privilege for good. If you don't, you're guilty.
So this lady asks, this Black lady, are white women really that scared of Black women? And I'm going to say yes. And this is my opinion as a white woman who is 53 years old and has lived in the South in Georgia in my entire life. But it's not being scared, but it's a fear. And it's not a physical fear. It is the mental fear. It is what we see in you and what we see you doing and how it challenges us and the fear of that. So we see Black women and we see how strong you are. We see you coming together as a community. We see you supporting each other. We see you supporting your community, supporting your families, supporting your children, going out and fighting for your rights, being authentic in your race and in your femininity. Anyway. And we're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire lives. And I'm not giving white women a pass, don't get me wrong, but I know I, and most women have been told, white women have been told our entire lives, be quiet, know your place, be a good girl, don't rock the boat, don't be too much. And when you are any of those things, you are ostracized because you have rocked their boat. And that is what Black women are. You rock our boat, our mental boat, because you challenge us to look at how we are deficient and not living in our truth, and it makes us uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable. And it makes us start to question ourselves, and people don't like to question themselves. We would rather live in our little bubble of white supremacy and what we know and comfortableness. I know that's not a word. Than a lot of people would, white women would, rather than challenge themselves to grow and know more, because it's easy. Doing the work is hard. It's really hard. I've been doing the work the past several years, and it's hard. It is hard admitting some truths about yourself and some truths about yourself as a white woman. So yeah, I think that white women are scared of Black women because you challenge us in that way, and a lot of us don't like it. And that's why we fear you. It's because we fear what you make us face.
I have a theory about why Black women and white women are having such a hard time getting along, and it starts with a story. When I first started teaching, I was in a teacher training program with 3 other women. 2 of them were Black and 1 of them was Indian, and we started teaching at the same school, the same grade, at the same time. One of these women, a Black woman, completely excelled. She did so much better than I did at literally everything. Classroom management, her test scores were high. She was excellent at literally everything. And something about her excellence didn't sit right with me. I just didn't feel good about it, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel good about it. It was internalized racism, but I didn't know that yet. So I had to sit with this idea of her being better than me and trying to figure out why it didn't feel good and feel comfortable for me. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that I needed to do the work of anti-racism, so I didn't think it was possibly because I could have internalized racism. I had to do a lot of study and thought about myself and what could possibly be making me feel this way about this woman. And here's what I discovered. Most of the media that I had consumed up to that point in my life had white people as the central characters. And the shows and other media that I consumed that had white women at the central characters often had Black women as the side characters. These Black women's role in these movies was to assist the white women, support the white women, advise the white women, but never to rise above the white women. Even shows that were about Black women, like The Help, had white women as the central character and the Black women as supporting characters. So I internalized the idea that Black women were there to support me and to advise me, but not to rise above or become better than me. And that's why when this Black teacher was way better and more talented than me, I felt some kind of way about it. Now, I'd imagine lots and lots more white women have also internalized the same idea, and that's why they feel okay stealing Black women's content and not giving them any credit, because the Black women are just there to advise them anyway. But most Black women are natural leaders. Society has forced them to become leaders, and so we need to step aside and let them lead. even if it means checking our privilege and letting them lead us.
The jealousy that non-black women may harbor towards black women can indeed extend into various aspects of life, including the workplace and broader society. This dynamic is often a reflection of deeper systemic issues where black women's success, confidence, and visibility challenge long-standing power structures and social norms. In the workplace, black women may encounter envy from non-black women, particularly when they excel or occupy positions of influence. This jealousy can manifest in subtle ways, such as microaggressions, exclusion from networks, or attempts to undermine their authority. The societal expectation that black women should occupy a subordinate position often collides with the reality of their accomplishments and resilience. As black women continue to break barriers and achieve success in various fields, they defy stereotypes and challenge the traditional hierarchy. This can provoke feelings of inadequacy or competition among those who may feel threatened by these shifts in power dynamics. Beyond the workplace, this jealousy can be seen in broader societal interactions. Black women's cultural expressions, such as their natural hair, fashion, and speech, often become targets of envy and appropriation. When black women are unapologetically themselves and gain recognition for it, it disrupts the conventional norms of beauty, behavior, and success that have traditionally favored non-black women. The visibility and celebration of black women's achievements can create a sense of discomfort among those who have been conditioned to see themselves as the standard. The most effective way for black women to counteract this jealousy is through a practice of aggressive self-love. This approach involves a deliberate and unwavering commitment to valuing oneself, culture, and achievements, regardless of external validation or societal expectations. Now let's continue further and review some examples.
Can somebody please explain to me why we are not talking about this Harvard study? This is a study of the effect of white coworkers on black women's careers. These researchers did not come to play, y'all. They studied over 9,000 inexperienced new hires, and they didn't just study them once. They tracked them for 6 years, over 2014 to 2020. Black women who were initially assigned to whiter teams reported fewer billable hours and more training hours. They were also more likely to be labeled as low performers. They found a 14 percentage point increase in the share of white coworkers was directly associated with a 10.6% increase in turnover for black women. This is my favorite part though. Turnover rates for black women decreased when we worked in groups with more black colleagues. We really got black women. We protect us. We protect us. This quote from lead researcher Elizabeth Linos really says it. Retaining black employees in elite jobs is as important as recruiting them. Retaining. No one considers retention rates when they hire us. They want us, but they don't know how to keep us. This study shows you how. Hire more of us.
It is very funny that you say this because there's a video of mine that went extremely viral. It ended up on so many articles. I was speaking on pretty privilege because that was the trend that was going on around that time. But I was talking about the negative effects of pretty privilege. And out of all the videos that was posted on pretty privilege, mine was the one that caused the most uproar. I wonder why. It wasn't the fact that an attractive woman was speaking on the negative effects of pretty privilege. It was the fact that it was a dark-skinned black woman had the audacity to believe that she was attractive enough to cause any kind of problem in society. How dare she? And they attempted to try and put me back in my place, but failed. There were women in my comments literally saying, yeah, there are negative effects of pretty privilege, but I don't think that you should be the one to say it. When I tell you, people are flabbergasted at the confidence of a dark-skinned woman. Because at a very young age, dark-skinned girls are conditioned to believe that we are not attractive. And that is a tactic that is used to not only position us, but make sure that we position ourselves in our rightful place in society. Ciao, please.
The second you stop being insecure as a black girl is the second people start being threatened by you. I hated myself my entire life. I was super insecure, but this year I finally started loving myself and standing up for myself and speaking and expressing my boundaries. That is the second people realize you're not going to be docile and you're not going to be the one to play with.
To conclude, jealousy from non-black women, especially in the workplace and society, is often a reaction to the disruption of traditional power dynamics and social norms. For black women, the most effective counter to this envy is aggressive self-love, a proactive, resilient, and unapologetic embrace of your identity, achievements, and worth. By committing to this form of self-love, Black women not only protect themselves from the negative effects of jealousy, but also continue to challenge and transform the societal structures that give rise to such emotions. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. Kindly check the description box for more information and follow me on my other platforms. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.